Okay, let's pick up where we left off and do the one with decimals. Okay. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm going to show that we can actually pick the first point as the y2's if we want. So 2.5 minus 2.2 over 4.8 minus 3.6. That is 0.3 over 1.2. We don't like that, of course. We can multiply each of these by 10 to get rid of the decimals, which is 3/12, which does reduce to 1/4. So decimals really aren't that bad, even if we used to rely on calculators to do them mostly. So let's continue. How about finding the slope from an equation? To find the slope from an equation, if it's already in y equals form, the slope is just the number in front of x. So here m is 2. But if y is not by itself, get y by itself. So negative 2y, move the 3x over, equals 3x plus 2. Divide by negative 2 to all terms. You get y equals negative 3/2 x minus 1. Again, now that y is by itself, the slope is negative 3/2. One thing to note, here y is by itself, but I don't see any x or any number in front of it. If you don't see an x, pretend there is a 0x in front. 0 times anything is 0, so no harm, no foul. So here the slope is 0. Now what happens if you don't see a y at all? Well, if you don't see a y at all, there's no y equals. There should be no change in y. And what no change in y means is you have a vertical line. So here m is undefined. So if you just have an x and a number, the slope is undefined. For each pair of lines, given the slope, give the slope of each line and determine whether each line are parallel or perpendicular or neither. It's just going to require a lot of work. So get your y's by yourself. So here it's 5y equals negative 2x plus 4. Here we've got 10y equals negative 4x plus 1. Divide the first equation by 5. Y equals negative 2/5 x plus 4/5. Divide the second equation by 10. Y equals negative 4/10 x plus 1/10. But negative 4/10 reduces to negative 2/5 x plus 1/10. Now remember, two equations are parallel if their slopes are the same. Are their slopes the same? Yes, so these are parallel. Well, what about number 15? 5x minus 3y equals negative 2. 3x minus 5y equals negative 8. Get y by itself. Negative 3y equals negative 5x minus 2. For the second equation, negative 5y equals negative 3x minus 8. Divide the first equation by negative 3 to get y equals 5/3 x plus 2/3. Here we divide by negative 5, we get y equals 3/5 x plus 8/5. So these are not parallel. Now we talked about it briefly in the last video that they're perpendicular if they have negative reciprocal. So they have the reciprocal, right? Because 5/3 and 3/5 are flipped. But they have to be opposite signs here. Are they opposite signs? No, so this is neither perpendicular or parallel. If we had had 5/3 and negative 3/5, they would have been perpendicular, or negative 5/3 and positive 3/5. So let's keep going. You can do number 16 yourself. So the equations of lines can be expressed in different forms. We talked about it. Standard form is where x and y are on one side and the constants on the other. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. We have this other form called point-slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And it can be used to find the equation of a line if you're given a point and a slope. Or it can be used to find an equation given 2 points if you find the slope first. Either one of those. So let's keep going though. Identify some examples. Slope and y-intercept of a line. Slope is again in front of the x. The y-intercept is the number added or subtracted afterwards, the b, and it keeps the sign. So m is 5/2, b is negative 4. I'm going to leave 2 for you to do. Let's move to the next area. Write an equation for the line described. Give your answer in standard form and slope-intercept form. So if we have a line passing through negative 5, 4 with slope negative 3/2, that point slope formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So x1 and y1 are from our point. M is our slope. So y minus 4 equals negative 3/2, x minus negative 5. This is y minus 4 equals negative 3/2, and then really x plus 5. Now to get y by itself, I'm going to distribute y minus 4 equals negative 3/2 x minus 15/2. Add the 4. Y equals negative 3/2 x. This is negative 15/2. This plus 4 is 8/2. So this is minus 7/2. So this is slope-intercept form. Standard form, we move the x over to the other side. So 3/2 x plus y is negative 7/2. Usually they don't allow fractions, so how do I clear the denominators? Multiply by 2 to get 3x plus 2y equals negative 7. And that, to me, is the standard form. I'm not opposed to 3/2 x plus y equals negative 7/2, but to me standard form is more appropriately all whole numbers, integers. For now, though, I'm just going to write them in slope-intercept form, and you can convert them if you want. A vertical line passing through 6, negative 4. So vertical lines are always x equals some number. And that number is whatever the x value is from your point. So here our x value is 6, so this vertical line is x equals 6. A zero-slope line, the y-intercept of negative 2, so that means 0, negative 2 is the point. Zero-slope lines are always y equals, and it's always the y value from your coordinate, so it's y equals negative 2. A line passing through the point 4, 10 and 6, 12. Find our slope. y2 minus y1, 12 minus 10 over 6 minus 4. That's 2 over 2, which is 1. Now I can take either of those 2 points and use that point slope formula. Y minus y1, which we'll call 10, equals m, which is 1, times x minus the corresponding x value, which is 4. So y minus 10, I don't need a times 1, equals x minus 4. Add 10. Y equals x plus 6. And you'd only have to move the x over to get it in the standard form. Okay, I'll let you do the parallel. Actually, we'll do it. A line passing through 3, negative 2, parallel to 2x minus y equals 5. So the trick here for these for parallel is you get negative y equals negative 2x plus 5. So that means y equals 2x minus 5. You have the slope. So you know y has to equal 2x plus some number, because you know the 2 has to be in front of the x for them to be parallel. It's the same. So all I have to do is plug in the point 3, negative 2 and see what that number is going to be. So negative 2 for y equals 2 times 3 plus b. So negative 2 equals 6 plus b. Subtract the 6 over, you get b is negative 8. Just put that back into the equation. Y equals 2x minus 8. Now for perpendicular, you do the same thing. Get y by itself. 2y equals x plus 10. Y equals 1/2 x plus 5. Now again, perpendicular lines, they take that slope and they take the negative reciprocal. So if I flip 1 over 2, it becomes 2 over 1. And it's negative. So we know y equals negative 2x plus b, and I plug in the point. So negative 2 equals negative 2 times negative 2 plus b. So negative 2 equals 4 plus b. Subtract the 4. b is negative 6. Put it back into the equation. Y equals negative 2x minus 6. And we will finish this section in the next video.